Hello Team Awesome, in this video we're going to talk about external blocks. What are they? Where do they hide? Tell me, has this ever happened to you? Oh my god, no matter what I do, I cannot seem to get this project over the line. Anything that can happen to block me has happened. This person has delayed me, or we've run out of funds, or really bad weather has pushed our project back a couple weeks, or a key collaborator has gotten sick. What am I to do? External blocks are, well, barriers to your creativity that come from the external world. So that could be anything physical or some person or some environmental issue. External blocks are particularly annoying because, as opposed to internal blocks, which are about 100% in your control, external blocks you do not have full control over. So I'll give you a good example of an external block. On my second film, which is yet to be released, during the post-production, there was a point when the colorist didn't respond to my messages for over a month. Afterwards, he sent me a bullshit apology, but basically the whole film was delayed because of him. Now, I don't have control over him or anyone for that matter. You hope that if you hire someone to do a job, they actually do it. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And you could say that, well, I was the one who hired him, and yes, that was 100% in my control. I could have hired someone else, but I didn't. And this block delayed my project significantly. Let's talk about some more external creative blocks. Yo, money isn't the most important thing, but it's pretty damn important. It would be difficult to create when you are thinking about how you're going to pay rent, or if you work in an expensive field like film, you would need money to get your project off the ground. And this means relying on other people who may want to interfere with your creative project in some way. Film is a collaborative medium, and this can be stressful when you have somebody who isn't a creative trying to tell you what to do with your work. I think financial blocks are very common in film, but they can be present in any artistic medium. The thing is, in order to be creative, you need to live in a safe space. You should have enough money to eat and to live and to take care of yourself. It's very hard to create when you do not have this. Another note about filmmaking. It's really expensive, and I think the financial is a huge barrier because of this. If you want to shoot a film, though it's much easier now than it was 50 years ago, it still requires money. You gotta pay actors, runners, crew, cameras are really expensive, sound equipment, and on the post-production side, all the crew members over there. Don't underestimate the stress associated with financial blocks. You wanna set yourself up for success, and having a strong financial foundation is key. Environmental blocks. These are anything to do with where you live, immediately, like your house or your home or your room, but it could also deal with the city or country that you live in. So your house, is this place conducive to creative work? Can you focus there, or are there people always playing loud music or being distracting? Or is someone interrupting your creative flow? This can be a huge barrier to seeing your creative vision flourish. Also, there are some people who thrive on these semi-chaotic situations, so it depends on the person. I would suggest finding the right balance. It is also nice to live with people you can bounce ideas off of. However, I think it is imperative to have a quiet space when it's time to review your work. Your room, or let's say the space where you do your work, is also very important. You can have an environmental block when you can't get work done because either your space is untidy, or you can't find the tool you need to complete a specific task. As I've mentioned in a previous video, labeling your files on your computer is so important. You may need a specific video file or song or picture, and having your files marked properly makes it so easy to get what you need in time. And it doesn't leave you frustrated and wanting to quit and do something else like accounting. There are some countries that are more inclined towards artists than others. And when you zoom in a bit deeper, you can find some cities where creativity flourishes. You can point to New York or London or Paris, etc. Places that are routinely pushing out creative artists. Ghana or Accra isn't a place where art is really supported. Maybe others have had a better experience, but it has not been the case for me. It is quite unfortunate because there are a few really talented people here, and if they had the right support, they would pursue a creative field, but they aren't, so they don't. And I am sure there are many others who, if the situation was a bit different, would be turned on to creative space. But since it's not really supported, they don't even look that way. This is a barrier. If you live in a place that constantly frustrates you, where doing creative projects is way more difficult than it should be, it can really take away from your fire. I'll give you an example. I was shooting an ad here for a bank in Accra. We were hired by an intermediary company to shoot the ad. The guy who was supposed to be our point man in the project did everything in his power to sabotage it. I mean, he withheld the money to rent the equipment to the last possible minute. He told the actors in the ad we were not organized and that we didn't know what we were doing, and told them not to show up to set. And he was just generally an ass. Thankfully, we were able to get the project done. But all of these things made it so much more difficult than it needed to be. And I'm sure this stuff happens in other places as well, but this is an example of an environment of unprofessionalism. And it kind of brings us to another form of external blocks: people. The people around you can influence you for the good or for the bad. They say you are like the 5 people you spend the most time with. They also say you can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends, so pick wisely. Working with people who are unprofessional, unreliable, not time conscious, etc., can really dampen your spirits. I mean, creative work in itself is already taxing, and adding this stress to your life makes things way more difficult than they already are. People can block you by just being negative and draining your energy. That's the friend who's always discouraging you from your project, or people can also be distracting, as in the friend who's always like, let's go out for drinks when you have a deadline. Then there are the unforeseen blocks. These are things that happen that you have absolutely no control over and you didn't even see coming. And these can be the most difficult because it can be challenging to identify when it's happening. It's like you keep falling sick and you can't finish your work, or the person who agreed to finance your project backs out at the last minute, or there is a massive global pandemic that hit and pushes everything back. This is exactly what happened to me. I shot my second film in 2019. I was delayed by sound because of several layers of miscommunication. And then when the pandemic hit, the film got pushed back some more. In 2020-21, we were able to do the ADR and get the sound back on track. And then the color thing happened. And then this guy was honestly a very disappointing person to work with, the colorist. Lack of communication. So now we're in 2023. The film is like 90% done, but everything has stalled even further. And I have to ask myself, does this film even want to come out? During production, everything ran rather smoothly, but I believe that sometimes in life you need to look at what you are doing and ask yourself if it is the right time. Are you pushing too hard? And I ask myself this question because I also believe if something is going to happen, it will. It won't be super smooth, you will have to fight, but if you're fighting way more than you need to, what's the point? And if you feel like you're losing vim on a project, it's time to take a big step back and see the big picture. And that's what I did. I left the project alone. Maybe someday things will pick back up, but for now, I can't put any more energy into it than has already been put. This isn't always an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of self-awareness and honesty, and I know that you will go through this. You have projects that you love so much and you want to see it through, but some things are happening that are telling you that maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's a sign from the universe or something. I don't know. More likely, it's a sign to take care of yourself and avoid burnout. And to overcome external blocks, I think cultivating some healthy self-awareness is essential to noticing when you are facing one. It's a bit of a challenge to say how to overcome these blocks because honestly, sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. You can't help getting sick. It happens. You can't help people dropping out of your project or removing money from your project. It happens. You can't control people in your environment. Some of them have grown up with really bad work habits. But what you can do is try and keep yourself healthy by eating right, working out. You can also have backups for money. Don't rely on just one person to fund your project. You can have a more discerning hiring process so you can weed out the people that are just going to waste your time. Really try and find out if the people you're hiring are not only a good fit for your job, but a good fit for the vibe you're trying to create on your projects. I would much rather work with someone who isn't as talented, or in Ghana, it's usually those people who want to work with the popular or overhyped guys. I would much rather work with someone less popular, less overhyped, but with a really good work ethic and a really good work attitude. I think the fundamental thing for overcoming external blocks is to remind yourself that it isn't your fault. If people are being shitty, that's on them. Fire them, find somebody else. It sucks, but it has to be done. For everything else, you gotta know what is in your control and what isn't. I like to go to the Serenity Prayer for moments like this. If you haven't heard it, it's something that is used in AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. It goes, I am thankful for the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the strength to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I truly hope this video has helped you. Navigating creative projects isn't easy, but it is doable, and please do not let anyone dampen your fire. If you have the drive to create, do it. Don't look back. Work on your craft, make mistakes, forge ahead. Anyways, Thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. If you have a friend that you think will benefit from this video, please share and share what you're working on, any of your creative projects in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys are working on. Anyway, catch you on the next one. Peace.